Well, good morning, Lionhearts. It's your old pal, Jordan the Lion. If you see those masks laying on the table, that's because I ordered them almost 2 months ago, and then right the moment before I turned in my keys in my old apartment, I checked the mailbox and they had arrived. So we got them, and if you also see the sunglasses there, you know that today is a Patreon sunglass vlog. This is going to be for Mary Jane Blahnik, and this is an honor. We are doing one of my favorite movies growing up, and we have some of the cast that's going to sit down and talk to us about it. So we are doing Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. All right, Amy, we're going off today to do some filming locations from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And when I told you I wanted to do this, you said that your friend was in the movie, and thanks to you, we are going to have some of the cast today. So thank you so much. Everyone that's watching, thank Amy.
Aww.
All right, so our first stop is going to be out at the Crandall house, out where Sue Ellen and Walter and Kenny all live, and where the mom takes off and leaves them all home alone except for an unexpected babysitter. So we're headed out to Santa Clarita for this first location, and what you guys don't know, but you know now, is that we already interviewed the cast members that we're going to interview today. So Kenny was able to shed a few secrets on this house location that we're going to see that I didn't know. I'm glad he told me, so I'll be able to share them with everyone. So Amy, how excited are you to see this house?
I'm super excited.
So there's the house, and there's that famous driveway that we see. The first time we see this house is Sue Ellen's friends are bringing her home, and Kenny's friends are picking him up. Right up over there. Now the house looks a little bit different than it did because it was green with white trim back then. And right up here is where Kenny's standing and says, "Dishes are done, man." So when we were hanging out with Keith, he said that how they got up there was they came out of that window, and he said that actually would have been Melissa's room in the movie, and on the opposite side of the house would have been Sue Ellen's. And then over on this side of the house was where his bedroom was, and the chimney that Walter is climbing up when he falls off the roof. But what we didn't know was that this movie was using this house, and it was also the same house from just the 10 of us. It was the Lubbock's house. It's a lot different. There's the tree. Right here's the tree where the tree house would have been, and they've changed the front steps for sure. It's not the wooden front steps anymore. And then behind the house is the pool for the big ending scene. So one of the things Keith told us was that actually behind the house they recreated a smaller version of the roof and the chimney. So when you see Walter climbing that, they obviously didn't have a little kid on top of that roof back there. They had recreated all of that on the ground level, so he didn't really fall off there or anything like that. Little movie magic. So cool to see this. The driveway is definitely a little bit different, but they show that so much. That's when Zach is on his date and Mrs. Sturak comes, and little boys are supposed to be in bed and little trollops need to go home. That's when Sue Ellen's getting dropped off from the fiasco of getting their car stolen. Here's a side view of the house. Keith was telling us they've actually added on quite a bit of that from what you see in the beginning when Melissa's arguing with her mother on the side. They've added all this back section back here. So once Sue Ellen goes in to read the riot act to Mrs. Sturak kind of gives them a surprise. So we're heading to our next scene. So right up there on those steps is where they leave the trunk with Mrs. Sturak in there with the note that says, "Nice old lady inside, died of natural causes." And the two guys come out and read the sign and take in the big chest. And then at the end you see them inheriting all of her money. So then we see this shot from back here, kind of fading out and showing the Crandall car parked right over here where Amy's at. All right, our next location's one of my favorites. So our next stop is the Clown Dog, Sue Ellen's first job. Well, this is what I was talking about with the world. Not only are they wearing face masks, but we're protesting as well. Now, where the Clown Dog sign once was, now it says Chipotle. It's a different building, but this was where the Clown Dog was in the movie. They've completely rebuilt all of this. In the movie, they would have had that old school seating out here out front, and this whole right side of the restaurant was where the cook and where Sue Ellen would have been back there cooking the burgers and squeezing out all the grease, and Mr. Egg would have came over and said, "We're gonna need you to go clean off the spitballs with a really fun squeegee." And that's also where she meets Brian. Her and Brian talk, and she has had enough. She storms out of here and quits. But we see her come back later when her and Brian are fighting. Sue Ellen pulls up in the parking lot next to us. So where Amy's standing, you can see Sue Ellen actually pulls up in her car right here, and there's a big glass window and everything, and you can see Brian cleaning up everything as she's thinking about her life with him. Now we've made it over to where the Chuck E. Cheese is in the movie, but unfortunately, where the Chuck E. Cheese is located now is not actually where it is in the movie. Where it's located in the movie, if I zoom out, I'm actually standing where the Clown Dog car picks them up. They're actually coming out of here. So they come walking out here, and before there was all this glass, that would have been where the movie poster was, and right here's where the payphone is. So they come walking out here, and as they look out, they notice that across the parking lot, over there where that Subway is, it was a Subway even then. That's where they see the drag queens, as they call them in the movie, stealing their car.
Liza.
Liza! So right over here where Amy is standing is where they steal Mrs. Sturak's car, and they end up having to call for help. So right here is where they decide they have to call someone for help, and Sue Ellen says, "Can't you call one of the lizards or something?" And Kenny says,
"I don't have any money."
"You have to bribe your friends?"
It's like, yeah.
So Sue Ellen ends up calling Brian over at Clown Dog. So we see an empty parking lot with Brian in the Clown Dog mobile. He comes driving past the Subway. It was a Subway then, and then next to it, where the Vision Center was the frozen yogurt place, and his car wraps all the way around, and you can see all this. This was a save-on even then, because you can match up over Sue Ellen's shoulder. You can see that right there. So right here we see Brian's truck come pulling up, and he actually ends up driving over the lip of this, but that's where they're all standing, and he comes and rescues them and gives them a ride home back to the Crandall house. So since this is now a learning center, it's all closed for the world dilemmas that we're encountering, but this is where the hospital was in the movie when Walter falls off the house and ends up here. Sue Ellen parks her car, and that would have been the entrance that we saw. You can actually tell by some of the windows. It's changed quite a bit since then, but not unrecognizable. So when she walks in there, "You're supposed to be watching him, Kenny." Yeah, there used to be like a whole front facade that was out there. See if we come over here, you can see a little bit better maybe. Now what's really interesting is that when Sue Ellen parks her car, in the background you can actually see there's all these hills of dirt and everything. Look at what that hill of dirt looks like today. Now that has definitely changed. Alright, now we are gonna call it a day for the filming locations, because we were gonna head out to Santa Monica and just get that really quick shot of Gus and Sue Ellen pulling up to Del Frisco's for their dinner, but they have so much police activity from here to there that we thought for one quick shot it probably wasn't worth it, especially when you guys right now get to see us hang out and interview Joanna Cassidy and Keith Coogan.
Hi, this is Joanna Cassidy.
I thought you were Joanna Cassidy.
I'm Joanna Cassidy.
That's
Sometimes
Joanna Cassidy.
Keith Coogan, but you know, we'll see.
That's JC. I'm Casey. Keith Coogan. Although we spent a lot of time in hair and makeup in the morning.
We did.
Gossip and eat and
Yeah.
and then wait for everybody else
I
to
think
come
we
out.
gossiped a lot because there were those long nights. Remember out in the valley that was like 103 at 1 o'clock in the
And you
morning,
think
and
you're-
we'd be shooting all night. And
You think you're going home and then all of a sudden bags of In-N-Out start showing up on the table outside by craft service.
Yep.
You realize they're going to
Yep.
go second meal and then keep
second
shooting.
meal.
Well, now that we've heard about what life on set is like, let's introduce our guests today, Keith Coogan and Joanna Cassidy, also known as... What was your character? Kenny and Rose! From Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Now, you guys were nice enough to be a part of our filming location video today, so I was hoping maybe you could tell us about how you got cast for the movie and some of your favorite memories and stories from the production.
Oh, that's a lot.
Anything you'd like to tell us?
How did you get cast?
When you're an actor, you're part of a union, Screen Actors Guild, or American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, or they've merged together. So now like TV and movies and radio are all in one union. So then you have a talent agent. And there's a list of talent agents that have signed an appropriate agreement with SAG. It's not like really needed or necessary or legal, but it's great. Go with those agents. So you have an agent. Sometimes a manager, you don't need one. So the agent makes submissions. So producers making a movie go, hey, we got all these parts we need cast.
Yeah, but Keith, you were a big
And they
star
put it-
by this
This
point.
is how it works. It doesn't matter if you're Gina Davis. This is, well. So they put out and they go, we need a Rose Lindsay. And she's going to be, you know, this is the kind of like character she could be, you know. She's the CEO of GAW, and there's lots of initials involved in her character breakdown. Then there's Kenny and the stoner, you know, brother or whatever. And you get these breakdowns. So then the agents go and go, hey, I have a client that would fit that role. And they go, here's my submission on that role. So my agent submitted me on the wrong role. And then I wound up like going around and getting Kenny. But your agent submitted you? Did you have an inside connection?
Certainly did. I didn't have an inside connection. I don't even think it worked off anything that I had done previously. I think I was just submitted, and I met the producers and director. And we got along, and they loved the idea of me. By the way, I did Buffalo Bill with Gina Davis, just thought I'd mention it. And
Blade Runner.
won an Emmy and a Golden Globe for that. But aside from that, Rose was perfect. I put on this wonderful red wig, and it all happened.
What made you go with the red wig? And what was your audition
I was
like?
a redhead at the time, but we wanted a very sort of sophisticated, neat, you know, cut off look so that I could swing this hair and look like a rock star.
And you did.
I think I did.
What was your audition like?
I didn't audition. I just met them.
Awesome. Look at that. So Keith, you just lied to us. You just lied to us.
No. So you do a submission, and then after that, they go great. You read with the pre-read casting, then go with the casting, then producers, directors, and everything. But Joanna's such a huge star that, of course, they're like, we'd be honored to sit down with them. And you know, the producers, frankly, were pretty hip.
They were.
And so they're going to know the deep cuts and like the award-winning work she'd done, and also the subversiveness of the material that Joanna tended to choose.
There weren't that many people then. Actors. I mean, there just weren't. So that, you know, it wasn't 1,000 people for a role. It was...
People thought of you for a role more
And
often.
they thought of you for a role. That's right. Or they wrote around you, or they had you in mind when, you know, they were writing it. So very, very different in those days.
So what was filming like? Like when you first day on set, what was it, camaraderie right away, or how did you meet the rest of the cast?
They shot the GAW interior office scenes kind of first. They did a lot of day exteriors. You tend to do that first in a movie so you can get it out of the way in case it rains, so you're not caught outside. So, but they'd also set up, and they wanted to shoot that out and then move into the house scenes. So,
And they did use the actual house interiors?
They did, and the interiors.
Yep.
So all of the office scenes that you shot were in a office set inside of this sweaty, hot box.
Unbelievable. And Christina Applegate, it was her first feature film. She was so nervous. She had her mother with her. And I talked to the mother. I sat the mother down and I said, look, I'm going to take care of her. Don't worry. I will be her mother in this movie. And I did. Then I just said, this is it, honey. We're going to make a fabulous movie. You're going to be great. You're going to be fun. We're going to have fun. When we were doing the
It shows.
M&M's scene, you know, I was trying to get her to laugh. I ate so many M&M's. I can't even tell you. I was very ill at the end of the day, but it worked. She got into that and took it over.
Your chemistry was amazing, but I think the casting is just everybody worked well together. I think it says a lot about you as people and actors. Like,
we're all good people, aren't we?
Yeah, and it was also well-written roles. Really,
yes,
like clear cut out.
Well defined.
High concept comedies of the '80s. They were like a one sentence you could say in the elevator to Jeffrey Katzenberg and get your movie sold.
And he gets it. Yep.
And so the characters had to be. They weren't a gray area. They had to be very clear with these very clear arcs. So Joanna playing a mentor to Christina and all young women that have watched that movie ever since. That was also that whole part of the movie. The movie was originally called Real World.
Interesting.
Yes.
Never heard that.
And it focused on the secret of my success, working girl sides. The story, really the main story, was all about Christina's corporate rise at General Apparel West. And then the studio gave notes on the script and they said, you know, we wanted to expand the family stuff, do more with the kids and stuff. Because Home Alone, I think, was coming out, and they're like, all right, we gotta lean a little this way. So we shot, they didn't cut much, they shot both ideas, and that's what we got now. I think it's a good balance between the office and the home stuff.
What was the first scenes that you shot as Kenny?
I came down to that set because Christina Applegate had phone scenes. So later, when we were at the house, I shot my end of the scenes. But for that, producers, you know, set up a honey wagon for me to come down and just off camera read. So instead of reading with the script supervisor,
which is pretty great. Pretty great. It just shows how devoted he is and good and fair as an actor.
Why would you not do that?
There are a lot of people that wouldn't.
I saw Eric Estrada walk off the set as soon as his close-up was done. And I'd read all my stuff with the script supervisor. And everyone on set was pretty much pissed about that.
Yeah.
So I was like, you don't do that. You try to if you can. And I'm like, I still.
In fact, a lot of actors give better off camera than they do actually.
Quick story. That's true.
Yep.
That's true. That's true. I wish we had turned around on what you just did. And then you go to the close-up and they're all in their head. Can't do it. On Apollo 13, which I got to visit the set, you have Bill Paxton, Tom Hanks, and Kevin Bacon up in the capsule. So they're getting all the other coverage for the Mission Control set. And I had two friends that were in the Mission Control cast. So I'm hanging out for a few days, and it's just a big poker game and stuff. And Ed Harris and all that stuff. Well, Tom and Kevin, whatever they were doing, Bill Paxton was on set. I'm like, isn't Bill in the capsule? And they said, Bill's reading all of the off-screen dialogue. He's reading Tom's lines, Kevin's lines, and his for the 2 months we're spending in this set.
That's amazing.
All of the back and forth. That's the kind. I just got chills.
The kind of guy.
The late Bill.
He's amazing. He's an absolutely committed, devoted actor.
I know, that's what you do. You look to be able to do this and be on a set, and especially with great producers and kind of like the fun, zany. I don't know. We knew it was a screwball comedy. But it was serious enough.
They were nervous about it.
Because of the real world, I took it very seriously. Every character had an arc and grew up. And changed a little bit. You got rattled when they wanted to burn uniforms in effigy. That scared you.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's when you basically Rose had a breakdown.
Oh.
That's amazing though that you mention, because I think now that you've told that story, it kind of paints why the movie's so likable, because you guys all seem like you were very supportive of each other. Not all productions are like that, and it definitely shows in the movie. You seem like a family.
I love Gus. What was his name? From The Fly and
yes.
I know him from Men at Work as Maxwell Potterdam.
Sweetest guy, great pro. You know, there was no. You know,
and David Duchovny. I told
David Duchovny.
Yeah, I just now realized that was David Duchovny. All these years. That's so crazy. So did you guys know when you were making this that it was going to be a cult classic, or did you know it was going to be a box office success, or how it was?
Theaters.
Is that the way things
then,
are?
Like 5% of movies at that time that were intended for theaters, sometimes it just didn't happen. And they're like, you know what, the dates are bad and we're going to go straight to video. So you're just worried one of these high concept screwball-y kind of movies doesn't go. Now, with Warner Brothers backing it, you go, I think it's going to have a theatrical release. You don't know what size, whatever. To release in the summer, it is, when this airs, it is a few days past. It was released June 7th.
Is that what? Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
So
we're celebrating
if you
an anniversary.
imagine a movie like this, a movie with, I don't know how you adjust 8 to 10 million budget for today, 30 to 40 million, a really small.
Yeah.
45 million.
You adjust that for today, and there's no way that's going to come out in June.
Yeah.
You know, for box office. And then they had $1 million budget for the VHS release to PR. $1 million promotion, big cardboard cutouts with the babysitter's legs sticking out.
Yeah.
Gave away the Buick, the dead babysitter's Buick. In a
Really? Is
contest.
that what happened? What happened to the clown dog truck? Do you happen to know what happened to that guy?
Don't know what happened.
You're looking at it like you have it in your garage somewhere, Keith.
You know, I always feel like everything I do, whenever I have kids that I'm working with, I know they're going to go someplace. It's like I feel like the bouncy ball, you know, like.
You're a talent
Well,
recognizer, I guess.
well, it's not even that. It's just that they all like go somewhere. They go somewhere. It's really interesting. I feel like a conduit for talent.
I drilled Kimmy Robertson about Twin Peaks when she's on set. She goes, I can't tell you anything. I can't talk about that. And David Duchovny, I was eating on my steps of my honey wagon at GAW at the set. And this was like deep at Victory, and near that Costco.
Oh, yeah.
Victory in like Burbank or something area.
Right.
And he goes, hey, how do you get a good agent? How do you get good roles? How do you get, this is like one of his first credits. And I was like one to tell people, I'm like, it's open field. There's only like 40 other people my age in the business. I'm like, go for it.
Really?
Like, Joanna's right. It was very, there'd be lists and they're based on foreign sales. And it's like analogous to a Q rating on TV. It's how, if you walked up on a street and you said someone's name, how many people out of 100 would know their name?
How were you pitched? Were you pitched as the guy from Adventures in Babysitting? Or how did that, you know?
Oh God. So my agent submitted me for the Josh Charles role, Brian the Clown Dog Boy.
Yeah.
And I had done Adventures in Babysitting where I was the kind of nerdy, goofy guy in love with the babysitter. I'm like...
Was your hair already grown out? Or was that for the part?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that is.
So I said I would love to know. I looked at the script and I saw this 15-year-old stoner guy. I was like, that's the part. What about Kenny? And my agent said, you're too old. I was 19, maybe going on 20. And he goes, you're too old. And I was like, so I went to Burbank Hair and Makeup, bought a $15 wig, had this like skull vest, torn jeans. So I went in as the Brian Clown Dog Boy first and auditioned for Sharon Bialy. And did that, and then I asked her on the way out, I said, can I come back in a few minutes and show you something? She said, sure, that's great. She's very supportive. I go in the car and change and everything, and I come back in dressed in the Kenny regalia, kick open the door. All right, who's in charge? And it was Kenny.
Awesome.
And she goes, at the end of the audition, she goes, Keith, go ahead and take off I had this like baseball cap to cover the really cheesy wig. Pulled it off, and the producer was like, oh, that's the guy that was just in before the thing. And I booked it. I was very happy.
Did you know right that moment?
That's pretty great.
My hair was a crew cut from the cheetah. I had cut it into a really short crew cut. So there was no way I'm growing it out in time. So we went to a wig maker in Burbank and had 2 custom hand-laced wigs made.
No kidding.
That's what they used to do. Yeah, that's what they used to do.
And that's why I was in hair and makeup with Joanna every morning. She had a wig, I had a wig, and we're in there. Oh, and Wigs by Ziggy, I'm sitting down getting my life cast done.
Yeah.
And it's just one of his last movies. This like hair wig maker, famous wig maker to the Hollywood
What
studios.
was his name? Okay.
Ziggy.
Oh, Ziggy.
Wigs by Ziggy.
Wigs by Ziggy. Oh my God. They were so beautiful. Mine was not made by him. I don't.
It was, yours was like brushed and like
Mine was
glossy.
like
all the
polyester
time.
or something.
So I look on the wall as I'm getting my thing done.
Get a Ziggy.
And there's a picture of my grandfather.
I was Rose. Why not?
No kid. Do you want to tell people who your grandfather was if they don't know?
Jackie Coogan, child star with Charlie Chaplin and
The Kid.
Later, Uncle Fester on the Addams Family. He's the name of the Coogan Act that protects child's earnings when they work as actors and stuff in the industry. There's a picture of my grandfather with the wig on. And I go, what is that? And he goes, his PR people said he needed a toupee for press events.
Oh, that's great.
So the same person that made my wig for Don't Tell Him, and it kept it in Warner Brothers archives. And the day the movie released, I did AM Los Angeles, and with Steve Edwards, as Kenny in character, I show up there, and they have it sitting on a styrofoam thingy.
That's so
They reapplied
cool.
it, and I wouldn't drop character. So I went on and I'm cooking Belgian waffles. It was a cooking segment.
That's
with me in
awesome!
character. I'm game, because I love PR for a movie or a character report. I hate PR for me. I just don't know how to handle that. I have no me. I don't know who I am. I'm an actor. So doing the thing, and Steve Edward goes, okay, so really, who are you? I'm like, no, man, go see the movie. It's because he pulls the wig off of me, and Steve Edwards puts it on his head. So there is great footage
that's
of
great.
Steve Edwards putting on the Kenny wig.
That's hilarious. Now, what was your favorite scene, or was there a moment on set that you guys maybe pranked each other, anything that's very memorable? What is it that sticks out as like a...
Did we prank each other?
Because I love watching you shoot the plates. The dishes are done, man, is just one of my all-time favorite scenes. First time I went shooting, I said that. Like, shot a rifle, I said that.
I had my dog on the set. Do you remember Bandit, the Australian Shepherd?
I totally remember that now.
Yes, but the Bandit was on the set and was running around and goosing everybody. She did that. I guess that was my biggest pranking.
She did, because I would bring,
Yeah.
I had a pit bull, American Staffordshire Terrier,
Yeah.
sorry, let me use the
Yep.
correct term. I think I brought her one day too. They didn't talk or anything. But I do remember you had, that is such a weird memory.
Yep. I brought her out to the house all the time, to the hot house.
Did you normally do that? Bring your dog to set?
I
Or
used to always
can.
try and bring
Yeah.
my dog. In fact, when I used to go, I forget what I was shooting. I had both of my dogs under a blanket. I had an Explorer then. I had them under the blanket, and I wasn't supposed to bring them. The guards would check the car.
Really?
Down, and I would have them under the blanket, and I would take them. I used to take my parrots to the set too until Dick Van Dyke asked me not to bring the bird because I had the bird on set and Dick was doing his little, shuffle and, talk. And he didn't see that Diesel was on the back of my chair and Diesel said, "Shut up." Not allowed to bring the parrot.
Dick Van Dyke didn't like the parrot's opinions, apparently.
I guess not.
That's
The parrot
hilarious.
has notes.
Now, what was the reception like when the movie was finished and once it came out? Had you guys already moved on mentally to something else, or were
We
you
always
excited to?
I went to Virginia and shot Toy Soldiers.
I love that movie, by the
It
way.
was 2 a year. I was doing 2 movies a year. Just you do one, you take a little break, you do another. It comes out and you hope, and you watch the numbers and you go, great, it's not a flop. Not a $100 million movie hit. It's not Beverly Hills Cop, but good. It's, the studio's going to hire everybody again.
Were you
Nobody's
getting
going
anybody
anywhere.
walking up to you and doing the devil horns and stuff like that, or were they recognizing you as Kenny?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. It's the thing is for the box office, I figure it was like 30 mil made or something, and so that means that at say even ticket prices of, give them a benefit of the doubt, $5 a piece.
Okay,
30 mil. That's 6 million people that saw it.
Yeah.
You know how many tens of millions more have seen it now that it's been on HBO?
Well, that's what I was going to say. HBO played it nonstop.
So the audience has just grown
Yeah.
for it.
And I was in Turks and Caicos years ago, 15, 20 years ago, and this little girl came running out of a restaurant. Rose! Oh my God, Rose! It's Rose! Turks and Caicos?
That is
Really?
great.
How crazy is that? So it's...
And that really
So
surprises me because of the classic and cult and very difficult to make movies that Joanna has been involved in. I have great respect for her career,
Absolutely.
talent, and the films she's done are they're on top lists for movies, not
Well,
cult movies.
When I showed up today, the first thing I said was, I thank you both for doing this because I know you've made so many movies. I didn't know if you would even have interest talking about this movie or if it meant anything to you. And you both immediately were like, absolutely, I would love to. I loved that.
Because it's going to be remade soon.
Which you told me about. I had no idea.
And it's going to be it'll be a whole other look.
The diverse cast. It's an African American family.
Right.
A whole different story to
Yep.
tell.
And we've been sort of
And we're-
somewhat approached to do...
I hired a PI. I got the production managers dressed, back gate, and do dishes in the backyard, and that'll totally get me apart.
That better be.
I met the producers in New York at Lee's birthday party, and they said, we're making the movie. This was a year and some ago, and I said, well, I have to have a part in it, but we were just discussing it today. We figured out what it's going to be. We figured out how we're all going to be together again.
Yeah, you've basically written what you think should happen.
Totally.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
I can come up with this stuff. Right?
So if they're watching,
Yeah.
we already have it worked out.
We have it. We just have to talk to the writers, and we'll get that done.
That's awesome. Now, since we agreed that we're going to release this on June 20th, there's something that is going to be out today that everybody can possibly buy if you act fast enough.
You get it?
Yeah, sure.
This is Keith gifted me this today. I am blown away. Now the music from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter is Dead is on 3 different versions, different colored discs, and there will be 1,000 of them coming out.
Beautiful vinyl
And
release.
Beautiful, and so you want to get one of these.
These aren't pre-orders,
and
these are out and pressed.
Open today.
Out and
I will find out the link and I will put the
Well,
link
here's
in the
link right
description.
Right.
Look at that.
Get it now because,
Yeah.
as Keith said, this is super limited and it's 3 different colored vinyl and not equal amounts of vinyl
Right on top
are
of it,
available.
Rose.
Right
Red.
on top of it, Rose. I mean,
The clown dog. That's
The
great.
clown dog, but isn't that great?
So cool.
great.
So cool to see this getting a second life. Or a third life, I guess, even if you count
Yep.
HBO.
I think
Oh,
so.
the inside is grass. It's the grave of the babysitter, and it
Oh.
says, "Nice old lady inside died of natural causes."
That's awesome.
And we have a little extra here.
Okay, so here's what's happening with me. I've been working on NCIS New Orleans and playing Scott Bakula's mother. Not that many years far apart, but anyway, it works. I put on my gray wig, love those wigs, and we're doing it. I have a southern accent, I have a little dementia, and he's bringing me back into the home. He's bringing me back into Roost, to the bar. It's exciting. I love it. And I'm a singer. I sing.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool.
That's an awesome part.
Yeah.
Yep.
I went to my agent over Christmas for like annual, meet, and I said, "Is there anything we could be doing?" And she said, "Could you not be white?"
Yeah.
All right, so I'm
Maybe
having
a gray
tough
wig
time.
is the-
And I said, "Look,
Very
this
tough
is
time.
a face you could totally hate." Be the boss. I've
Yeah,
been
maybe
playing
a
a
bad
lot
guy.
of like, rapists, a lot of talent agents, molesters. But I
You're
did
versatile.
play the opposite. I did play myself in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, now available Amazon Prime and Blu-ray and DVD. Please see Kevin Smith's Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I have a fun part in that, and it's got a throwback to. Don't tell them they name check. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead, and the dishes are done. So I'm very stoked about that.
And about 2 weeks ago, I released a video where I had a bunch of wrestlers do cameos. You're on Cameo, so if people would like to get a birthday wish or anything,
Yeah,
they
we're
can
both on
hit you
Cameo.
up and get a message directly from both of you, right?
We love cameos, and right now there's no autograph conventions or shows happening. They've all been canceled or postponed until social distancing can be relaxed. So now is a great chance if you want a message from Joanna or myself, go ahead and look us up at Cameo.
Yep.
Excellent. And you're both on Instagram, correct?
Oh, Instagram and I have my website is officialjoannacassidy.com. You can go in and see my photographs that I do and have done, and write me, right?
I'm at keithcooganonline.com where I continue to be an actor whore. So go ahead and look me up there. She's a great photographer. And thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much. This was a lot of fun, and thank you for wearing that shirt today, Keith. That is so cool.
Did he say he's going to give us a check or cash?
Cash.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Cash is good.
Okay.
We're done, man.
Okay. Yo, the dishes are done, man.
I'm right on top of that, Rose.
All right, Amy, how much fun did we have today hanging out with Keith and Joanna?
So much fun.
We're going to see them again, too. We have plans in the future, so thank you for helping to set that up. And is there anything you want to say before we wrap up the vlog?
The dishes are done, man.
All right, my friends, we're going to call it a night. I hope you enjoyed this great vlog. I had a blast seeing all those locations, and I had a blast hanging out with Keith and Joanna. I hope you did, too. Thank you, Mary Holt, Suzanne Turner, Mark Lynn, Laurel Rossman, Douglas Hewitt, and Marie Duran for becoming my newest Patreons. We'll see you all next time. Have a great night, and goodbye.